Hello Crow Coven and welcome back to our channel. If you're new, I'm Nyx with Chromates Apothecary, and in today's video we're going to be doing a no contact what do they think about you reading. So this is going to be more like me tapping into this person's energy and reading as if I was that person. So for this reading, I really want you guys to have a particular person in mind as you are making your decision. Really try to keep them at the forefront as you make this decision, because it will help me tap into their energy and hopefully resonate with you better. Also, just note that that doesn't always work. Sometimes another person can be trying to come through and really take over the reading. So if that happens and you go, oh, this is not the person I was thinking of, but it's definitely relating to this other person, feel free to come back to the intro and try again with that initial person in mind. I hope that made sense. If you guys would like to support the channel, remember to like this video if you like it, comment down below to let me know if this resonates with you, and also hit the subscribe button to join the Crow Coven. You can also support our channel more directly by heading over to our website at chromatesapothecary.com, and that is where we create our all-natural self-care products, and it's also the only place where you can actually book a private tarot reading with me. So if this resonates with you and you want to know more about this person, where they're at in life, what you should do now, anything like that, you can actually go to chromatesapothecary.com and set up a reading with me. All right, let's go ahead and get into the intro of these different groups. We're going to be using the Pink Pain Tarot deck for all of the groups today. But starting on the far left side, we have this tiger's eye that's going to be representing group number 1. Then we have this raw crystal quartz that's going to be representing group 2. Then we have pyrite representing group 3. And lastly, we have this clear crystal quartz representing group 4. So if you need to, feel free to pause the video, take a moment to meditate, and when you have made your decision, head on down to the description box below and then click on the timestamp that corresponds with the group that you chose. And now without further ado, let's head into your reading. Hello group number 1 and welcome to your reading. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about what it is that they think about you. So I'm going to be trying to really focus on the energy of the person that you are thinking about. Again, someone else could come through, so just keep that in mind. And also, I wanted to just point out real fast that I'm trying to tap into their energy, so I'm sorry if any of this comes across as like harsh or anything like that. If this is somebody that you possibly had a falling out with that may have been more negative, try not to take it as me trying to directly attack you or anything like that. So you guys chose this tiger's eye. Just wanted to show it off again real fast. And before we get into the tarot portion, I am going to quickly roll the astro dice that we have to see if we can pull out either their sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps yours. So the first one we're seeing is Sagittarius. Next one we're seeing is Virgo. And lastly, we have Virgo again. So I'll set that aside. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to pull out some initials using the tiles that we have. So hopefully this can help identify that you guys chose the correct group. I am going to pull out 4. So I have L, E, R, and P. So go ahead, set those there. And now let's go ahead and get into the actual tarot with this. So, Spirit, can we please get some information on Group 1's person and how they feel about Group 1? I feel like just pulling all the cards all at once, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real fast, and I'll read them out to you. Okay. So the cards that I have pulled are the Queen of Swords, the Sun in the reverse position, Death, and then the Nine of Wands. So the overall feeling that I am getting from this is that there is a position where you all once had a very, it feels like a very clear connection of something deeper than friendship is the first feeling that I'm getting from this, because of the strength that we're seeing from 2 major arcana cards coming out. The overall feeling I'm getting is that at the very least they saw this as something deeper than friendship. Whether or not you did depends on your situation perspective, but the feeling that I'm getting from this person is that they felt like you guys could have been more, or that you guys were more, and there is this sense of pain that they are going through, because I believe that they see you as this Queen of Swords here, that's someone who is relatively independent, that you are somebody who is quick on your feet when it comes to making decisions or being able to be very perceptive about things, seemingly very organized in your life. So they see you as someone who is relatively organized, and that you're on the right track is almost the feeling. Is like it almost feels like they kind of looked up to you or look up to you. And because of this, there's this absolute feeling of loss from you guys no longer having this connection, because again, this is a no contact sort of situation. They feel as if there is this pain here in that Sun reversed. There's still some level of positivity in a reversed Sun, but it can indicate some sort of temporary depression or sadness. So they are feeling sad about this connection having been needed to be severed for whatever reason. And there was that need for change. So whether or not they felt that this was correct on their end, they feel like you needed to go through this change, that there was a reason, and they can kind of understand why there was this ending. But the Death card also talks about things transitioning and transforming. So even if it is a temporary pain that you or them are going through, one or both of you understand that this was needed in order to have a sort of newness and change within your lives. Because the Nine of Wands is actually pretty hopeful. It talks about needing to tap into courage, and this is sort of a test of faith sort of situation. So my example that I have is perhaps it's this will they won't they kind of situation that you guys were in, but then you guys had to separate because of say you didn't want to potentially ruin the friendship or something, and you both needed to, because of that, it was painful that you both sort of stopped talking to one another. And you guys are in sort of different points in your life right now, And this is testing you to see if there's a chance for you guys to come back together, whether it's in a relationship or with a stronger friendship in the end. There's some reason or need for you guys to breathe, is the feeling that I'm getting. At least from their perspective, it feels like they think that you needed to step away because you needed to get things sorted, or like your feelings or emotions or anything, or you both recognize that you needed to be apart from one another. This feels like a mutual thing. This feels like you both understand. And while they feel like they have a lot more like sadness coming through and pain, they recognize why this had to happen. I'm gonna pull a few more cards because this is very interesting. Again, this could be straight up a like romantic situation that ended, but it feels almost like you guys want to be friends, like exes that are friends, or you guys are tempted to like go back into a relationship. There's some like feeling of wanting to at least like remain close in some sense for whatever reason. Okay, so Spirit, can we see what group one's person feels about them? The first one we're seeing is the Bobcat and Blackthorn, and it says patience. So we're seeing something talk about patience once more. This feeling of needing to be resilient and needing to kind of wait something out. So they can see you as either a very patient person, or perhaps they think that this connection you guys need to be patient before you can come back into some sort of connection with one another. We also have the Badger and Ginkgo with healing wounds. So yes, there's some need for you two to heal before you can like meet up with one another again or have this conversation. They can also see you as someone who did do a great deal of healing. So in the sense of like, you were able to help them from pain that they had in the past. So I do get this feeling that they really like looked up to you, or they valued your opinions or valued your advice. This doesn't feel like negative at all, really. Like when I talked about earlier that I was nervous about it being like really harsh, this feels almost like they clearly like miss you and wish that they could have that connection again. Can I get one more, please, Spirit? Feeling one more. The last one I pulled is the Crow and Dogwood with intelligence. So they see you as a smart person too. Like they, again, like I feel like they recognize why this had to happen, and they are seeing it as a smart move. So whether you initiated something where you were like, no, we have to separate, or whatnot, they truly understand where this is coming from, and I don't believe that they hold it against you. Pull just a couple more cards. We have survival. So they could see this as you needing to make this move in order to survive, in the sense of like, not that your life is threatened, but just that this is all kind of like the only move that you could have made in this instance for the survival of your relationship or friendship, potential friendship relationship in the future. Like the feeling I'm getting is that they recognize that this was a good move, whatever the situation was, why there was this separation in you guys' union. They recognize it as a good move. They understand that for the survival of you guys to potentially ever come back to being friends or rekindling a relationship, anything like that, they understand that it was a necessary move at this time for you. Can I get one more? Yeah. We're seeing upheaval, which is essentially like the Tower card. So they felt like they didn't really have a say in this situation. I really feel like this was something that was like in your hands and you made this decision, and it has really changed things up for them. It's whatever you guys' situation was prior to this. There's a really big change that needs to happen before you guys can come back to once more be friends, a new relationship, anything like that. There's something, there was a reason for this deep change. It feels external still, so it feels like there could be like some pressure. So if you're like, you know what, I honestly cannot date this person right now because what will people think, or just maturity levels aren't there yet, something like that. There was something that you intrinsically noticed as a problem, but one that you weren't willing to either let this other person work on before you reconnect, or you want to be there to help them again with the healing wounds. Is like you do still want to be there for them, is the overall feeling that I'm getting. And you had to kind of like make this really hard decision again for survival purposes. There's something about this that needed to be salvaged, and in order to salvage it, it needed to change. It needed to go through like that death change, that transition. It doesn't feel like this is over. It doesn't feel like you guys aren't ever going to be able to talk again or potentially have some form of connection, but it just feels almost like there's a need for you guys to be separate right now, and that you will eventually again come back into some form of union if you want that. Of course, if you made this decision and you were like, you know what, like this is the end, but I want to leave on good terms, that's absolutely in your power to do as well. Feel like this person would recognize this as still as a good move, even if you guys never come back to speak with one another again. I think they kind of understand why this had to happen. I'm gonna pull just a few more cards. This was like very, very direct. I get some more messages from group one's person. The first one I'm seeing is solar plexus, which says ambitious and self-confident. So again, I feel like they see you in this way. They see you as this very positive, warm person. We did roll earlier Sagittarius, so this could be tapping into those Sagittarian vibes. We also have the sun here as well, so perhaps they have a little bit of this sort of feeling to them as well, the sort of bright, positive feeling overall. But for the most part, I believe they see you as someone who is ambitious and someone who does kind of like you back yourself alive, or that they like those things. Oops, about you. My apologies, I just spilled some cards. Could I get a couple more cards, please? Next, we're seeing Aries, so another fire sign coming through, that passionate, bright energy, adventurous, confident, and driven. So very strong, straightforward kind of energy and kind of person, kind of like when we talked a little bit about the Queen of Swords being very driven and someone who's like organized, things like that. Lastly, we have Scorpio coming through as well, which says honest, determined, and focused. So you're seeing a few good sets of signs here. We see Scorpio again in the Death card, and we're seeing Leo in the Sun. So there's a lot of fire here as well. So this is another kind of backing toward it being a, maybe perhaps it was a passionate romantic sort of situation for you guys. I'm gonna pull, I think, one more card. Can I please get one more card for group 1? This one is Angel Aura Quartz, and it says lighten up. So this one is a very beautiful crystal. I feel like in this is that I don't think they're directly telling you to lighten up, because it just sounds rude. I feel like they see you as a just like a really positive force, as someone who does have the ability to make things easier for them, to make it so you help bring that sort of light to them and whatever struggles they're going through. And I feel like in this is that if they had a message for you, I feel like it perhaps is that, again, they understand why this had to happen, and that perhaps by this lighten up message is that instead of being very, like, feeling very, very deeply and passionately, is that things just need to be a little bit softer. There needs to be some sort of connection where you guys almost start over, is kind of the feeling, and try not to put as intense of emotions at the forefront of it in order to kind of start things over. Just because if you do come on really strong when it comes to being intimate or your emotions or things like that, it could potentially push you guys back into old ways. So I think leading with curiosity and wanting to kind of like relearn this person is going to help you when it comes to navigating it. So if you want to come back into union, try to lead with more of the friendship angle first and really establish that before you go any further, just because I think that you guys' emotions were kind of the things that influenced why this transition had to happen and why someone pulled away from the other person. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your video. It was a quick one, it feels like, but it just felt very concise. I didn't want to keep rambling, so hopefully this resonated with you. If it did, remember to leave a like. Also subscribe to join the Crow Coven. And also, if you did get this far in your reading, feel free to leave a sun emoji down in the comments below to let myself and others know that you did get this far in your reading. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello group 2 and welcome to your reading. So in today's video we are going to be going through what it is that this person feels about you, kind of like their thoughts on you. And before I get started, I did quickly want to say that of course I'm trying to tap into the thoughts and feelings of another person. This could be either the person that you're specifically thinking about, or could be somebody else trying to come through to really give you this message that maybe you are on the same wavelength of thinking about this person as they are thinking about you. So just keep that in mind as we go ahead. And just know too that I'm not trying to like come at you if it does come across as harsh. Group 1 was not very harsh at all. It was actually a bit more positive, but I am suspecting that one of these groups might have a bit more negative leaning. So please, please, please know that I'm not trying to like comfort you. Okay, so before we get started, I'm gonna go ahead and push the tarot aside for just a second while I roll this astro dice. So we're gonna see if we can pull out their sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps yours. Kind of narrow down the person. First one we are seeing coming out is Gemini. Next we are seeing Pisces. And lastly, we are seeing Aquarius. So we have 2 air signs and a water sign coming out. And then I'm also going to pull 4 tiles for initials. So we're gonna see if we can get any initials that could perhaps help point you in the right direction as well. we are seeing S, T, K, and E. So we have the name steak. I just keep that there. And the crystal that you chose is this raw crystal quartz. I'm going to go ahead and show it off. Very, very pretty. And let's go ahead and get into the tarot portion of your reading. So, Spirit, can we please tap into Group 2's person? I'd love to kind of figure out how they feel about Group 2. Give me any information about that. First one we have coming out is the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse position. The Three of Cups reversed. See, I'm telling you, the drama is coming out. The tea is being spilled. Judgment, oh my gosh, okay. And the Queen of Wands. Sorry, I'm trying to translate these as I'm going along. Sometimes with decks that have things that aren't like obvious, because like I love this deck, but like obviously cigarettes, and then we have like pills and bottles and stuff. Bottles are easy to remember. Sometimes I get super confused and I have to kind of like be like, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah, so this one, this feels almost like there was a situation that happened that they, I feel like they recognize that they screwed up. Because when, especially these two coming out, this talks about this feeling of there being some sort of lost opportunity. And it leads into the Three of Cups reverse, which is always, always, always coming out when this is sort of a, like, this can be an affair situation where they perhaps cheated on you, even if it wasn't with another person, like physically, like cheated on. It could have been more of an emotional cheating where they were relying too heavily on someone else and it felt like they weren't giving you anything. Or this could be seen almost as a competition card where it feels like there were just too many people involved. If it wasn't a direct, like, affair cheating, emotionally cheating on someone kind of situation, it feels like there were too many people who could make judgments to this situation, kind of because we're seeing judgment here. It feels like people had a say in what was going on between you guys. But for the most part, the immediate initial feeling that I was getting is that it feels like that they think that they screwed up. There's the very, very small off chance that you were the person that caused this. And from their point of view, they're seeing it as like this relationship could have been great, but then something clouded it, whether that was you being unfaithful or perhaps there was more people involved in this. Like maybe you were in like a love hexagon or something and you weren't sure who you wanted to go with, kind of thing, but it ended up being your call in the end. And they're seeing it like that kind of thing where it almost feels like you were the one that made some sort of call, because they feel like there's some level of regret here. But I think that they see you as someone who was in control of this situation where you decided to cut something off. So whether this was you finding out that they cheated and you cut it off, or perhaps you made the decision to cheat because you like couldn't be with them anymore, there was some reason, or there was too many people to choose between and you went with a different call from what they thought you were going to do, is the feeling that I'm getting. Again, I'm not trying to be super harsh, this could have been anyone's mistake, but I'm reading it to kind of cover all my bases. But from how I initially feel when I saw all these cards, it felt like they were the person, the recognizing this as a lost opportunity because they were the person that did something, and then you kind of said, okay, well, I'm not having that, and you cut them off. That's the overall feeling that I'm getting for the general public in calling this reading. And lastly, on here in this Queen of Wands here, I'm seeing that they believe that you're someone who is very warm. You have a lot of like determination and a lot of power behind what you do in your life. You feel very passionate and vibrant as a person, and they recognize that, and that's something that attracts you to them, is the feeling that I get. I'm going to go ahead and pull some more cards that can be indicating what they feel about you or about the situation. So I'm trying to hold the cards and they want to go everywhere. Spirit, can we get a few cards out about Group 2's person and how they feel about Group 2? The first we're seeing is the Finch and Peach with romance. So I really, really feel like this was some previous romantic connection, because I was already feeling it with the first couple of cards, but seeing this really solidifies it, that it feels like this was a past relationship where I feel like they recognize that they screwed up, honestly, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Ooh, I have two more that are coming out. The first one we're seeing is the Deer and Oat, and it says healing. So they recognize you as someone who is healing from this past situation. They don't think that you're stagnant at all. They see that you're like moving forward for whatever reason. So whether that's that you're still in contact or like same friend group kind of situation, or if they've been sort of stalking your social medias to kind of see, as they recognize that you are kind of moving forward. There is the possibility too that they see you as someone who is very healing. This kind of happened a little bit with Group 1 as well, where it felt like they understood why this relationship had to be like severed, and then when they feel what they feel about that group was that they were a healing energy to them. And this is kind of that same feeling. It's a different card, but kind of gives off that same feeling, is that they do see you as someone who was helping them heal from past situations. And that's why they do feel regretful for things, because they no longer have that. So now they realize, like, oh, I messed up kind of thing. That's the general feeling that I am getting for this. We also have the Weasel and Pine with introspection. So they could either be recognizing that you're someone who is looking deeper into yourself and either recognizing your worth. They see that you ended up making this judgment call about not wanting to be in union anymore, and so they see that you pulled away in order to do some further healing. Or they're currently in this sort of introspection where they realize that they need to look within and kind of mature before they can ever like try to potentially talk to you again. I don't know if that's something that you want. It's always going to be different for everyone, whether or not they want to try to heal these wounds with another person or even hear back from them, even if it's just for closure or something like that. There's the potential that you both may want to talk to one another, but I don't think the timing is right just yet. So continue to be patient if that's something that you're looking for. They may need to go through this sort of healing and introspection first. But I do feel like, for the most part, is that they are seeing the faults of their ways because you guys are separated. They're seeing kind of like what it is that they did, and how they feel about you is that you kind of already were there. You already had that knowledge, and you're like, of course doing these things and treating me like crap is going to lead to me deciding that I don't want to be with you, like duh. And it's kind of only just now dawning on them, is the feeling. But they're recognizing why you decided to leave, why you decided to either break up or stop being friends, things like that. Because again, this doesn't need to be romance, but it really feels like it with this card. Let's go ahead and pull a couple more cards. Can I get some more information, please, Spirit? The first one we have is perspective. So I feel like they're starting to see from your perspective now. That's the overall feeling. Like, I was kind of feeling like that earlier a little bit with these. Again, the introspections, they're recognizing and they're starting to regret things. I feel like with this, they're trying to be like, look, I'm now seeing things from your point of view and understanding and recognizing why whatever the situation was bad, and that's why they're seeing this as like a missed or lost opportunity. I think they understand that your point of view on this is correct, and that's kind of like, considering what we're seeing, we saw like judgment, and judgment is like, I always see it as almost like the more like harsh or like the more absolute version of like the justice card, because this is about like your inner calling and like absolution kind of thing. This is about going through some sort of rebirth. So I think they're starting to recognize that in the end you were right about everything, kind of thing, and they are starting to see that. I don't know if that's necessarily like gonna end up being a good thing in your favor, to where you suddenly hear back from them and you hear like them actually like apologize for their actions, or if it's just that, you know, they might silently just be like agreeing with you and they'll just never bring it up to you again, kind of thing. I'm gonna push this up just a little more because I have one more of these larger cards. And we have observation. So this can be more directly that they are not necessarily what they feel about you, but what they're doing is, I think they are watching you in some way. So this is, again, either they're seeing you for, I don't know how though. I don't know if they're like friends with people that you guys were friends with and they're seeing how you're healing, or if they are watching your social media or something. There's something going on where they're seeing how you're healing and they're understanding a bit more. It could be that they're recognizing, yeah, I don't know, it feels weird. It feels like they could be just simply like watching what you're doing, and that's why their perspective is changing, is they're seeing how you are almost like, it feels almost like you're thriving beyond this kind of thing, because you're like, I'm not going to let this happen to me. I'm not going to go through all this crap, and I'm not going to just roll over and be like, yeah, this is fine that you did this. And they're seeing how strong you are from that kind of thing, and they're going like, oh, I was the crappy person in this situation, kind of thing. It's interesting though. So there's something going on there where it feels like they have eyes on you for whatever reason, and for, I don't know how, but for some reason they do. I'm gonna pull just a couple more cards. Any last messages for group 2 that we have? We have smoky quartz with protection. So I feel like they felt very protected by you. It could also be indicating that you are protected from this person. So if you don't want to come back into any sort of union with them, feel like you're kind of the one that has the power in this situation, and you don't have to go through that if you are not interested in talking with them. There's also waning gibbous, which says, I make space and release. So it almost feels like here that they recognize that you needed to release them. Like you were strong enough to be like, you know what? I don't need this relationship anymore. I don't need this friendship anymore. And you were the strong enough person to cut things off. and they can recognize that from you. We also have the waning crescent, which says, I pause in stillness and reflect. So we're seeing once more this sort of introspection situation here. They're seeing this perspective of someone who is reflecting on their past actions. And so that's why I do feel like they are seeing how you, in the end, were right about this situation, whatever this was. So if this was them cheating on you and you being like absolutely not and leaving, or if there were multiple people that you were deciding between dating or something like that and you ended up going with someone else and not them, I think they understand why. Like maybe they came across as too strong to you, maybe they had a couple red flags and you saw it and you were like absolutely not. But I think they're recognizing a little bit why their actions may have turned you away from them. Whether that's good or not, I don't. I mean, it's always good to grow and recognize when you're being maybe a little bit too much, but I hope it's not a like stressful thing for you to be like, oh, like interacting with this person is going to be so weird now or anything like that. Can I get? Ooh, this one absolutely just flew out before I even started to really shuffle it, and it's the lepidolite, and it says recall your dreams. So I don't know if this is them maybe calling to you and be like, maybe you guys had a similar life path where it was similar ideals, similar dreams, and they're trying to be like, hey, like remember like how we both were interested in this thing, like we could go down this path together. That feels very stubborn and kind of guilt trippy. Or if it's literally like recall your dreams as in maybe they're appearing in your dreams or you're appearing in their dreams kind of thing, kind of situation. You guys are thinking about each other more because of that. It's interesting. It does feel like, though, that they're still trying to get your attention for some reason. And then we also have agate coming out with get back into balance. So this need to rebalance one another, this need to come back into some sort of meeting in order to feel more balanced with one another. That's your call, though, is the feeling that I'm getting. I don't think they get to really have a say in this situation. I feel like it's almost like they want to, but again, this is all on you. This is your decision to make whether or not you want to get back into union with this person, or if you want to balance things out with them, kind of thing. I do feel like they have made some moves to kind of look within themselves and recognize where there were issues, and the issues were mainly on their part. But the overall feeling I'm getting is that this is a person who realized that this was a lost opportunity after some situation happened. You had the ability to kind of cut away from them, and now they've been really thinking on things and realizing their mistakes. But I do get this feeling that they kind of still wouldn't mind either coming back into a romantic relationship, or they want to know you on some level. But again, this feels like you're kind of like the boss, and this feels like it's your decision whether or not you want to have these clear-cut boundaries of no longer speaking with them, or you have to open up the dialogue kind of thing. So if that's something you're interested in doing, I feel like you might find some good closure opening up that dialogue, because of them being introspective, or it could be a ploy for them to kind of try to sneak back into your life. So just be very careful, be very observant when it comes to potential manipulation tactics if you do decide to talk to this person. I don't know if that's the feeling that I'm getting, but I just like to warn everybody just in case, because again, your safety is the thing that we need to prioritize. So thank you guys so much for watching to the end of your video. This was an interesting one, so I hope that everything works out okay for you. If you liked this video or it resonated with you, remember to hit the like button. Also subscribe to join the Crow Coven. And lastly, because you did get this far in your reading, put a little peach emoji down in the comments below to let myself and others know that you got this far in your reading. So anyway, thank you guys so much for getting to the end, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hello group number 3 and welcome to today's reading. So in today's video we're going to be discussing what it is that they think about you. So as we're going into this reading, I want you to keep a certain person at the forefront of your mind because it'll make it easier for me to really be able to like tap into that energy. But also note that sometimes other people come through, so while you may have someone in mind and that is the intention, things might point towards someone else. So just keep that in mind as we are going through. The other thing I wanted to point out too real fast is just to know that this is me trying to pull what their thoughts and emotions are, and sometimes that may come across as harsh. So just know that this is not how I feel about you, but this is what I am picking up from the energy of this person. So before we get super started with tarot, I'm going to set that aside and we're going to roll this astro dice to see if we can get their sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps yours. So the first one we are seeing is Scorpio. Next, we have Capricorn. And lastly, we have Leo. And I will set that here. And then I also have some tiles to pull for initials. So I'm going to pull 4. So this can be your name, their name, or even perhaps a nickname. So the first one we're seeing is G. Then we have R. Then we have B. And lastly, we have C. So I'll set those there. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the tarot portion of the reading. So you guys chose the pyrite in order to represent you guys today. So I'll just show that off real fast. And I will set that aside for the time being. Pyrite could immediately bring about this message of someone potentially thinking that you're fake, considering that pyrite is known as fool's gold, so it's known as being something that people would think at first glance that it's gold, but it's obviously something else. So this could be someone's thoughts and intentions behind how they feel about you. But let's go ahead and get into the cards and see if that can kind of corroborate or if it's just going to be a red herring. Let's go ahead and get into this. So can we please get a few cards for group 3 from their person? We're seeing the 5 of Swords immediately. The Fool, okay. We talked about Fool's Gold and then the Fool came up, okay, yeah. So this person has immediate distrust of your character, it feels like. The Queen of Pentacles reversed. And the 9 of Wands upright. Interesting. Interesting. I want one more. I don't know why. So I haven't done this for any of the other groups, but I feel like you guys need one more card. The last one? Okay. So I feel like this makes a lot of sense at the very end here. I feel like this person was slighted in some way, or they perceive it as being slighted. They feel like maybe they were tricked for some reason. Hold on, I'm just kind of trying to feel out this message real fast. Yeah, the immediate message and feeling I'm getting is like they feel like some decision that was made ended up kind of making it as if Like they felt like they weren't as important as something else to you. And because of this, they took this as like a personal like slight against them. Even if it wasn't even them that you were basing your decision on, this change or this transition that you had to go through, something that's going on that shifted you guys' friendship or relationship or something, you weren't even really necessarily taking them into account because you were like, I'm focused on my own stuff. This is my journey, and this is the thing that I want to do, is the feeling that I'm getting from you. But from their perspective, they were like, oh, they specifically made this choice because they knew this would hurt me. Does that make sense? That's very weirdly specific, and I didn't get that from other groups, but I do get this feeling of um, they either feel like you were playing them for a fool, or they think that you're a fool. I think they think that you're like disingenuous because of this situation that you were in where you had to make this decision. But at the same time, I think they kind of look down on themselves a little bit, and they're seeing themselves as the fool. We have here in the Five of Swords, there is some sort of conflict and there is some sort of loss. And I think some of this stems from thinking that you betrayed them in some way. But I'm not getting this feeling from you that you are doing a purposeful, malicious attack against this person. It feels like you were kind of stuck between either two minds, or you had to make the best decision for you in your life and the path that you wanted to follow. And so while you were following that, it ended up hurting them in the process, and they're kind of looking at you more harshly, is the overall feeling that I'm getting. With the Queen of Pentacles reversed, this can sometimes come out when someone is needing to rely really, really heavily on their place when it comes to their work and their life balance. So my example for you guys is, perhaps you are in school right now and you are studying really, really hard because you want to have a career, and that's something that you are very passionate about. And so you are putting a lot of time and energy into that. But there was someone who could have potentially been a romantic interest who came into your life, and you basically chose to continue down your path of learning, you're heading towards your career, when you could have looked into potentially spending more time with someone. And they thought you guys were on the same page, but you ended up not being. So that's just an example. It could be, it could resonate with someone in particular, but that's kind of the feeling that it is. It's like you have a clear-cut idea of what you want to be focusing your time and money into, but they thought that they were more important. Sounds a little selfish, but like they're putting in this feeling of like, why didn't they choose me, is kind of like my understanding from the messages that I'm receiving right now. So this could have been either a career thing. This could have been maybe you are somebody who has like some side hustles or something like that. So you actually have like a full-time job, and then after you get home from work, you proceed to work on your side hustle as well. And this person is going like, oh, well, if I was important to them, they would make time for me. But you have something, like you have like a dream that you're going for, that you have to put time, money, energy into, that you can't just give to someone else right now. And that is why they're hurt. That's the overall feeling I'm getting. However, some things that I'm feeling from them is, I think they both feel that they are the fool, and also that you are a fool. Like they think that you made a foolish decision. But I don't see this as, while it may be a little egotistical, I don't see this as, again, a purely malicious thing. I think they just may have some issues when it comes to feeling slighted. Maybe in their past they had this happen and so it's hurt them doubly, or maybe they have issues regulating their emotions when it comes to perceived rejection. But towards the end with these cards here, this looks like they wish that they could continue forward with you. In the Nine of Wands, there's this feeling of persistence and that this is a test of faith, that if they continue down this path, there's a potential of change. There's a potential of like that what if kind of situation. And they are perceiving this either friendship, relationship, whatever, as almost like a missed opportunity. Like they wished that they could have been able to have something with you further, but they're seeing it right now as this lost opportunity because they feel like, again, they feel slighted. They feel like you could have done more on your end to either reassure them or to see things from their point of view, which we all do need to see things from different perspectives. But if you're somebody who's very headstrong and you know exactly what you want, they should be able to recognize that in you as well, and they should be able to accommodate and compromise for that as well. So I think there may be just some form of misunderstanding that happened between you guys. So if this is something that you can kind of recognize and resonate with, and you're like, you know what, like, I wouldn't mind pursuing something with this person. It's just that it was very bad timing. That might be a dialogue that you would want to open up with someone, because it does kind of feel like there is this sense of loss and this feeling of betrayal and everything. But at the same time, this feels very hopeful, and as if there was the chance to be able to pursue something. They're kind of pushing forward with this like energy of being like, you know what, I'm here for the long haul. This is just a test. We're going to be able to make it up on the other side and things will end up all right in the end. So if that's something that you're actually interested in pursuing, I think this is just kind of like a hint saying, hey, you know, this is how they feel and this is why they were slighted, but they are hopeful for the potential of the future. So let's go ahead and pull out some more cards. So what does group 3's person feel about them? Can I get a couple more cards for this, please? The first one we are seeing is the Crow and Dogwood, and it says intelligence. So they do think you're a very smart person. I think they may have also recognized where your decision was the correct one. And maybe that's why they're feeling a little foolish, as they're like, I acted out and now they're no longer going to want to talk to me because I made a big deal out of something that potentially was the correct answer. You know what I mean? So I feel like they do kind of look up to you when it comes to that. They don't think that you're a fool in this. That's the kind of feeling that I'm getting, is it's kind of reconfirming that they actually feel like you were taking them as a fool, because I think they believe that you are a very intelligent person. So I think this is a situation of someone just having hurt feelings and feeling as if you were potentially manipulating them. Maybe like mixed messages, like you put down something and then you turned around and like did something else and they were like, wait, what? And you may have not meant it at all, and it's just a misunderstanding is the feeling I'm getting. We're also seeing the Porcupine and Anemone, and this one says boundaries. So yeah, it kind of reaffirms you putting up some level of boundary between you and this person, and that was needed for either your mental health or for your actual path in life that you want to go down. You are like, you know what, I have to focus on studying. I have to focus on this exam. And instead of caring to text them back or setting up times for a date or just hangouts or anything like that, you have these very strict boundaries, and they feel like you almost have like a wall up that is stopping them from being able to get past that point with you, which is not at all a bad thing. But I do think that they see that and they recognize, and maybe that's why they think that they're a little foolish, and maybe that they think that they were acting out is because they're recognizing that this was something that you needed to do. We also have the otter and cattail with peace. So I think that you bring them a lot of calm and a lot of peace. I'm, this could be, you could be a, you either could be a Capricorn or you have it somewhere in your chart that kind of pushes you toward your, towards your like work ethic, because there is this feeling of, we had seen Capricorn in the Astro Dice, but also the fact that this is a choice. This really feels like a choice between like romance and a career. And so this kind of gives more of that lean. And so I'm inclined to feel that you are a very grounded person, and you are somebody who's like, you just go on your path and you know exactly what you want, and you sink a lot of time and energy into it. And because of that, almost every like, okay, I don't know a lot, but the Capricorn that I am married to, this is what it kind of feels like, is this brings about this feeling of peace when being around this sort of person. So I feel like there's some sort of grounding to you that they can really register, and you do help them calm down and bring about peace to them. So again, I don't think this person is malicious in the way that they are acting or feeling. They may have been petty in the beginning, but it almost feels like they're like, they've grown a little and they kind of recognize like what the issues were. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a few more. This first one we're seeing is risk. So they might think that either you're making some risky moves, and maybe that was the initial feeling, or especially because it's under these cards here, is I think they're seeing moreover that the relationship, the potential relationship, is a risk, because they're continuing to kind of pursue you. And they're like, listen, it already feels like they've rejected me before. Like, who's to say that they're not going to reject me a second time? So I think that's kind of the feeling, is that they're like, if I put all of my attention and time into you, they aren't sure if they're going to get something back. So if you are still in union with this person, like this is not no contact for you and you're actually still talking with this person, maybe try to clear up the perspective of what is and isn't realistic. If you are totally into this person and it was just absolutely wrong timing, you're gonna need to let them know, or otherwise you can just let them down gently. Just be like, you know what, I appreciate it, but I am actually not like attracted to you, or I'm not looking for a relationship. I feel like some discussion needs to happen. The last card that I pulled for here too is teamwork. So they honestly want to work together with you on something. And I feel like they see that you are a team player as well. You may be the leader in this situation and they're more of a follower, but for whatever reason, I'm getting this feeling that they do want to see things go forward with you. So again, you may have to clear something up if you're not interested in this person in the way that they seem to be interested in you. I'm gonna go ahead and pull just a couple more cards. I do feel like this person actually cares very deeply about you too. So just know that they may have had some hurt feelings, I feel like. We're seeing Iolate, and this is such a direct like call out. It says shift your money mindset. So I think they may think that you don't have to be pursuing things as heavily as you are, especially because we are seeing a few things that talk about money, the fact that there's that like work-life balance, like imbalance kind of thing, where you may be putting too much time into work or toward your career sort of thing. And maybe that's because you simply want to be secure, or you want to live a lifestyle where you have plenty of money, and they're sitting there being like, you don't actually need to work that hard. Especially combined with the Fool's Gold too, is like with the Pyrite, is that they're sitting there being like, you honestly don't need to be putting that much time and effort into things. So I think that's just their thoughts on the subject, and where this hurt may stem from is that they're like, why did they choose the money thing over me, is kind of the feeling. Which again, I don't want you to shift your I don't want you to shift your mindset if this is what makes you feel comfortable or this is what you want to pursue. This is just like what they may be feeling. We also have Sodalite coming through, and this one says, speak your truth. So again, there's this need for you to have a discussion with this person. I feel like there's a need for you to clear something up. So if you do have something that you need to say, I think you have to figure out a way to open up a dialogue with this person so you're able to speak your truth and kind of let them know like where you're coming from and what exactly happened during this time, just so they can better understand what's going on. And the last couple cards and messages that we're getting, the first one is Comfrey. It says root down to rise up. I'm gonna pull, I think, 2 more. Any last messages for this person? There's Weeping Willow with find sanctuary within turbulence. And one more. We also have New Moon, which says, I open my heart and set my intentions. So the overall feeling I'm seeing from these cards is obviously we had this root down, rise up sort of thing. I kind of talked briefly about you guys potentially being an earth sign, more specifically a Capricorn. So I think they see you as someone where when they're with you, they feel very grounded, and that helps them grow. It helps them feel more secure within themselves, and that is why they do want to be close with you. They also think that you're very rooted and grounded too. So I'm overall getting this feeling that there is some earth sign that is heavily in your chart, especially when it comes to money or work ethics. Finding sanctuary within turbulence could be that they simply want to be that for you, is that while you are going through either a lot of studying or you're trying to go on a job hunt or something, is that they're like, I want to be there for you. I want to be like this person's sort of like sanctuary, even if they may have had that like petty moment in the beginning, or it may not have even been about them and they kind of made it about them. I don't think they are coming from a place of actual like maliciousness or anything like that. And then lastly, with the new moon, that I open my heart and set my intentions, this does feel like partly to them is that they want to open their heart to you and they want you to see exactly how they feel about you, and they're hoping that you feel the same way. And so I think honestly that this was just some form of misunderstanding, and there may be hurt feelings on both sides, but as long as you are comfortable and willing to do so, I feel like there just needs to be some sort of discussion. There needs to be some dialogue opened up so you guys can kind of hash a few things out, because I think you were just on separate pages, and there's a way for you to be able to come back and actually work together if that's something that you're interested in pursuing, of course, because I don't feel a lot of maliciousness from this person. I do feel like maybe they were wrong in the past and maybe they haven't apologized for that. But I do think overall that they feel fairly positively about you, group 3. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. If you liked this video or it resonated with you, remember to like the video and also hit the subscribe button to join the Crow Coven. And also, if you did get to the end of your reading, place a shell emoji in the comment box below to let myself and others know that you did get to the end of your reading. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello group 4, and welcome to today's video. So in this reading for today, we are going to be discussing what it is that they feel about you. So what we're gonna first do before we get into the tarot is quickly wanted to point out that I'd love for you to keep a specific person in mind. So the person that you were thinking about in the intro, try to continue to keep them in mind as you're going through this reading so I can better pull their energy from you. But at the same time, Just be open to the fact that there could be a stronger presence that's trying to come through, that's trying to get your attention and maybe trying to take precedence over the person that you chose. So I'm going to go ahead and actually move the tarot over. Oh yeah, the last thing I wanted to point out too is that because this is a video about how they feel about you, just know that if there's anything that's coming out here that sounds harsh or negative, it's not my feelings about you, it's their perception of you. And just to know that I'm not trying to be mean. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this Astro dice to see if we can pull either your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps the person that you're thinking of right now. The first one we're seeing is Leo. And then the next we have coming out is Taurus. And then lastly, we have Aries. All right, so I'll set that aside. And then the next little bit I'm going to do is I have these little like tiles, and I'm going to go ahead and pull for initials. So these could be initials of either your name or their name, or nicknames as well come through sometimes. So the first one we're seeing is E. Then we have F. Next we have N. And lastly we have Q. So I'll set those just up here. And let's go ahead and get into the tarot now. So you guys chose this crystal quartz point, clear crystal quartz point. We'll go ahead and show it off real fast. This can hopefully help you really identify their feelings for you, because this normally talks about kind of like amplifying things around you. So amplifying a voice that's trying to come through, or being able, because it is that clear quartz, is being able to see through things. So being able to finally see the truth of the matter as well. So let's hope we can get that energy into this reading. So please, Spirit, can I pull a few cards regarding Group 4's person and how they see Group 4, how they feel about Group 4? The first we're seeing is the Knight of Pentacles. Then the Seven of Cups. Ooh, I pulled these two at the same time, so I'm actually going to take these together. So the first one, I will just set them next to each other also, it'll look silly. The first one I pulled is the Ten of Wands, and then the Ace of Wands in the reverse position. I do want one more. The Six of Cups. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm just trying to feel out this message real fast and figure out how to word it. The initial feeling I'm getting from this is, first and foremost, this person sees you as an extremely hard worker. They can recognize, like, whatever their relationship was to you, they can recognize, I feel like, where you came from and what you've grown to be. It feels like there's this stretch of time that has gone on. So this could be either like a long-term friend, perhaps a long-term relationship. This can also give off to some people. This can be like a family sort of thing, which is interesting. I haven't had a family connection come through in the last few groups. But for some reason, there is this feeling of this could potentially be a parent that is coming through as well. But I see this person regarding you as someone who is, you're very in control of things. You like to have a routine. You like to kind of push forward with this sort of methodical, if I do A, that'll lead to B, then to C kind of feeling. And they see you and what this could have been as sort of like, I don't know, it's giving off some strange vibes. There's this feeling almost of them recognizing how you are almost like this is going to sound so weird, almost recognizing that you are almost like too good to be true kind of thing. um because we're seeing in the Seven of Cups here, this is kind of about like fantasy and like wishful thinking and illusions and stuff like that. So they may be sitting there and they may have like looked at you and been like, this is like too good to be true. Like, how in the world is this person like this kind of thing? And um, so for some of you, this could be honestly a very, very proud parent that could be coming through, that is trying to show and share how much they are proud of what you've done, but they recognize that it's been a lot of hard work and that you've achieved so much. Or this could be someone who's more like a friend or a potential lover who are like, hold on, how in the world has this person like come into my life kind of thing? And they just they just continue to pursue everything that they want. And it kind of feels almost a little standoffish. For the other ones, it almost feels like the person viewing, so you guys, it almost feels like the person viewing this video made a decision to pull away. But for this one, it almost feels like your person pulled away. And either they did it because they felt they had to, or they did it out of like insecurity, like they were self-conscious or something like that. For some of you, you may still even know this person and be in contact with them and talk with them, and maybe they haven't acted or done anything different, but it does feel kind of like that they're not even on the back burner, but they've stepped back to kind of watch you instead of being super involved in your current lifestyle, like friendships or things like that. But who knows? We are getting this intense feeling of you putting in a lot of work, putting in a lot of time into getting things the way that you want them to be. But along with this hard work and the stress that comes with it is that you are going to be able to fully achieve the things that you set out to do. In the Ace of Wands reversed, however, is like there is some sort of feeling of being either the recognizing that you are really weighed down by all of these burdens. They're seeing that there's a lot of delays that are coming into your life, and maybe that also could be where I'm picking up that feeling of like they've stepped back, so it feels almost like their connection with you is kind of delayed as well. It feels almost like they haven't put in more time and effort, or there's a reason why they can't. But overall, I am getting a relatively positive feeling from these cards too. It doesn't feel at all like I'm feeling more sad than I'm feeling petty, if that makes sense. In the other groups, I kind of felt levels of pettiness, but then it kind of shifted into like more positive. It's like, despite them being petty, they recognize that you're a good person and they wish they could say sorry. Whereas this one just feels overall more like sad that they can't be in your life as much, and like just like melancholic, like kind of like, I don't know, it just feels really like they wish they could be with you more, but there's like some reason why they can't, but they can recognize where they're at. They can recognize that you are putting in so much hard work and you're really making a life for yourself. Does that make sense? I'm so sorry. It doesn't. Also, this connection here with the Six of Cups, this talks about either some sense of like reunion, so you coming back into this union with this person soon, or maybe this is what they want. But this also does talk about like nostalgia and like childhood memories and stuff like that, at a time where people were more innocent, things like that too. So that's where we were picking up that feeling of like they could have known you for a long time, maybe they knew you when you were a child, hence why I was picking up on the family sort of aspect, that this could be a family member, like a parent or guardian, who um, is recognizing how much time and energy that you are putting into the world, and they're seeing how hard it is for you, but they want you to know that they're extremely proud of you. Kind of, that's the overall feeling that I'm getting from this. It really does not feel ill-intended whatsoever. If anything, it feels like this sense of like sadness that they can't be there with you to like celebrate your wins, kind of thing, is the feeling that I'm getting. So I would love to, I'm gonna pull a few more cards now. So for group 4's person, how do they feel about group 4? What are their thoughts on them and their character? The first one we're seeing is the rooster and sunflower, and this is communication. So this is them wishing that they could communicate with you more, or perhaps they're recognizing how, like, maybe you're a very talkative person. Maybe the way that you guys communicate is unique. So it could potentially be something like, maybe you do things like, call this person like at a certain time, or maybe you try to communicate in your head to them, kind of thing, and then like they'll pick up on the vibe and they'll call you. Or if it's somebody who may have passed, this could be some form of them wanting to establish communication with you because they're able to see how much hard work you've put into your life, and this is their way to try to come through. That could also be potential, such as like when we were talking about this feeling of like sadness and potential family member. This could have been a family member even who has passed, who's trying to reach out and communicate. But I think they're looking at you and they are seeing that you're trying to communicate with others as well, and they're continuing to try to push you toward that. So there's this feeling of, keep open your avenues of communication. They do see you as someone who likes to talk and likes to communicate with other people. So just continue to go along that path, because there's this feeling of them seeing that and recognizing it as a good thing for you. We also have the snail and huckleberry, which says trust in the invisible. So that can also really point towards like a potential like loss of a parent or something, is like you needing to put in the trust of that they're still around you, kind of feeling, and knowing that they're like looking down on you, kind of thing. I'm sorry, this turned very, very sad, very, very quick, but this is very interesting to me that both of these cards that came out kind of fed into one another. The other thing is, like, I think that even if your person hasn't passed and this is just a long distance thing, or you guys don't communicate often, is that they see you as someone who you can put a lot of trust into the universe and into, like, when the timing is right, you guys will come back into union. You will be able to communicate with one another again. There will be some sort of connection once more, but maybe right now you have to focus on this really intense of like getting through school or trying to find your long-term career, things like that. Maybe you have to do these things first, and they're kind of laying in wait and waiting for you to get through this hurdle before you guys can come back into this connection with one another again. Can I get one more, please? Feeling one more. And the last one is the crow and dogwood with intelligence. So they see you as someone who's extremely intelligent. You're making all the right moves. They do look up to you when it comes to this. It feels like they've never like tried to insult your intelligence or anything. They've never tried to like talk down on you when it's come to the things that you want to do, or the things that you want to pursue. They've always been kind of a good support system for that. And they know that you're making the right moves, is kind of the overall feeling that I'm getting, is that whatever path that you're on right now, that you're pursuing, they know that you are being guided toward that in a way that is very intrinsically you. It's very much genuinely what you want for yourself. And because of that, um, because you're being genuine with yourself and how you feel about things, it is leading you towards the right path. So just know that whatever path you're on right now, whoever this is, they're recognizing this as a good move, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. And then overall, just in general, like, this person does think that you are very, very smart. So just know that I don't feel any ill intention, which is it's so funny, because when I started this reading, I was like, oh God, I hope that this isn't like someone just absolutely ripping into everybody, like when I did all these groups, and then they've all ended up pretty nice. So I'm very thankful for that. The first card I've pulled out for these ones are Tiger's Eye, which says overcome your fears. So they want you to really break out of your shell. If you are afraid of pursuing something in particular and you've been edging towards that, you've been trying to point toward one specific outcome that you're afraid of reaching out for, whoever this is, they want you to overcome that fear because they know that this is good for you. It could also be a call to have you overcome your fears of how they feel about you, and if there needs to be some sort of dialogue that needs to be opened up. They want this communication. So if this was potentially a friendship or romantic situation that has had to take a step back because you've needed to put in a lot of hard work and you've really needed to focus. So say you just started a new career and you really had to go through intensive training, or you've been in school for something for some time and you had to really, really focus in order to get through school, then they're kind of now being like, okay, I see that you're putting in all this hard work and everything, but I'm still here and I'm interested in trying something with you, or going back to how we used to be as friends. So don't think that because you had to focus a lot of time and energy into something else, that you're not also able to go back to that friendship or that potential relationship. So, because I can get nervous about that. It's like if I haven't spoken to somebody in a little while, I start freaking out and thinking that they hate me and that our friendship is completely destroyed and things like that. And then I'll message them and they're like, hi, how you doing? I missed you. And it's super chill. It's that kind of feeling. Don't feel like you can't talk to them now. Let's go ahead and pull one more of these. The last one we're seeing is Shungite, which says detox your life. So there's a potential of them either recognizing something that is going on that could potentially be harmful for you, whether that's a mindset. Maybe you're somebody that when you're stressed you binge eat, maybe you use other substances, or there's certain people around you that need to be dropped, or hobbies or something that's actually causing a lot of clutter. I feel like this person is recognizing those things and they're going, listen, you may be using these things to cope because you're going through such a hard time, putting in so much time and energy into something. They're recognizing this and being like, this can either be an escapism thing, or it's just something that has really clung onto you for a while, and they're coming through to try to let us know that you need to simplify your life. You need to get rid of the things that could potentially be toxic in your life, that could be causing more harm than good. So I feel like you will know what this is. When you see this, you're like, oh, okay. You know your vices better than anybody else. So there may be something that you need to lighten up on, or some sort of change that they're recognizing as well. So even though this person is in the background, or maybe even past, they're seeing how this is a negative for you, and I think that they just wanted to call attention to it. Let's go ahead and pull the last few cards. Got just a couple more for you guys. The first one we're seeing is Ghost Pipe, which says immerse in your shadow's wisdom. So not being afraid of what your shadow self can give you when it comes to learning lessons. So if you think you have weaknesses in your life, instead tapping into those and recognizing where their strengths lie as well, instead of just being like, I'm going to completely hide away and completely shelter myself. They want you to be able to be introspective and learn things about your inner being and really learn from whatever those shadows are within you. There's also Full Moon, which says, I celebrate being whole. So this could be you being recognized as someone who, even if you aren't in union with this person, they can see how full your current setup is making you. So like they can recognize where there's a lot of light and love and happiness in your life because of the things that you are pursuing. And so I think that they do recognize that this is something that you need to go for. Again, I don't feel any level of ill intention in these cards. They feel very, very much like, if anything, they're sad that they can't be a part of your life right now for whatever reason. For those of you who are interested in coming back into union with this person, I don't think that they are going to push you away. I think that they would really, really love to be part of your life again. So trying to open up that dialogue, that avenue of communication, if that's safe for you and if this person is someone that you want back in your life, feel free to reach out, because I think they would be more than happy to pursue that with you. And also just know that if this is someone who has passed, I feel like they are very, very proud of the steps that you've took thus far, and they are here kind of protecting you and kind of helping guide you through all of this stress. They do believe that you are making the right choices for yourself, and in this I celebrate being whole is they feel this level of fulfillment, of accomplishment, this pride and everything in what you're doing because of this full moon here that we're seeing. Is that it feels very much like the time and energy that they put into your life, they're seeing it grow and transform into something beautiful for you as well. So that's the overall feeling that I'm getting for you guys today in this reading. If you liked this reading or it resonates with you, feel free to leave a like on the video and also subscribe to join the Crow Coven. And lastly, if you did get this far in your reading, put a sunflower emoji in the comment box below to let myself and others know that you did get to the end of your reading. Anyway, thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your video, and I will see you in the next one.